Why do people get readings? What is the point of psychics or seeing things in the future? Because some people just don't need it. They are happy going about their business, they trust their own intuition, and they just keep plodding along. Some people actually have no idea how this even works and they just laugh it off. And then there's people that worry, they worry, or they have a decision to make and they're not sure, they're because in the past they've trusted their intuition and it's let them down. So they've gone down a certain path and they thought this is the way to go, and it just let them down or it went wrong, and then they lose trust in their intuition. So another opportunity will come along or a direction to go in, and they're not sure whether to take it, so they will use a clairvoyant or they use that spiritual guidance to clarify what they are thinking. Because we have the higher self is seeing things from a high advantage point. Our ego, the ego is what gets everything confused. The ego is the brain thoughts, and that's what gets confused. And it's really hard sometimes to tap into the intuition and get out of the thoughts. So it's for guidance. So there'll be questions like, I'm thinking of going into this new business. Is now the right time? Or do you see this business succeeding? Or, and the guidance that will come through is like, now is a good time or now is not a good time. Like I had somebody ask me it was back in January, they asked me, is now a good time to buy shares? I actually had two separate people ask me in January, is now a good time to buy shares, and what shares, what direction. And the guidance that was coming through was, no, don't, just wait, just sit and wait, because I said in March that there would be a downfall in the stock market, and if you went in now, you would lose shares. And in a way, I think when people start in their intuition is telling them shares, they've got this word stuck in there and they think it's time to buy, but it could be their intuition saying, no, don't buy because there's going to be a stock market crash. So the guidance is helping you distinguish, is it saying yes or is it saying no? That's what it's helping you with. A lot of people start relationships and they've had so many disappointments in the past. They've started dating somebody and then it hasn't worked out. And so they will just ask a clairvoyant, is this going to work out? Now, with relationships, it's very difficult because there's free will and you've got to give yourself time. It takes, a year to 2 years to really get to know somebody, and you're only meeting their public side, the side that they want to show you, and you're showing them the side you want to show them to impress each other. That's what you do when you're trying to get to know somebody. And then as you get to know each other and you're comfortable with each other and you're thinking, well, they're not going anywhere, you start to let the guard down and they start seeing a lot more of a private side of you and you of them. And then you start to see, if somebody in their family dies while you're dating them, you get to see how they handle grief, how they handle emotions. So when you've given yourself time, then you might think, well, I actually don't really line up with this person. I don't like the way that they do things. So that's the kind of guidance that will come through in a reading, is helping you to give yourself time, helping you to understand, don't push, don't get desperate and push for relationships. See things logically, because you just don't, and that's what a lot of the guidance that comes through gives you logic. It gives you things because when you chase emotions and you get so caught up in your emotions, this feels so good, I'm going to do it. The logic goes out the door. So when you get a reading, the guidance gives you the logic and it pulls you back, it grounds you again so that you don't make rash decisions. So that's what they're for. Some people really love to hear from somebody who's passed away. They miss them. And they don't miss us because they're all around us. They don't go anywhere. Their energy is right here. I always say it's like the air that you breathe is how souls are. They're just here. So they don't miss us because they're just here, but we miss them because their physical eyes can't see them. But we feel them. We feel them, but we just can't see them. And so sometimes they will get a reading because they want to hear from them, and because our loved ones can see everything that's coming. If you rang up your brother, or you rang your sister, or you rang your best friend, or mum or dad or grandma to get some advice, then a reading will help bring that advice through that they would give you. And that's what the medium's for. The medium's just the person in the middle to give you the advice. And the medium and the psychic, when they're very good at what they do, are not working from their own ego. They're giving you guidance that's coming through from your higher self, from your spirit team, and from some other higher place. It's not their opinion. And if you ever feel like you're with a psychic and you're getting just their opinion, that you're not with the right person. And quite often you're going to hear stuff that you don't want to hear, but your spirit team know what you can handle to hear. And when it's a very, very good medium, the medium will put it in a way that you understand. So reading, you could have two people ask exactly the same question and totally different answers will come out because of the way this person processes information. They will get a totally different reading to the way this other person processes information. Somebody might want to know one specific question and they only want to know the answer, like yes or no, something very direct. But another person may want to know, well, why am I choosing that? Or like they want to know the more of the spiritual guidance, deep, like their emotional attachment to it. They want to know that. So the answers are going to be totally different depending on how people process information, because spirit knows you better than you know yourself, and they know what you can handle hearing. So yes, sometimes I will get a question asked to me and all I can give them is basically what they want to know, very direct. And then somebody else, it's such a long, detailed, because they're ready for it. They are ready to hear what they need to hear. That's why they've contacted you. If you get drawn to certain people, you look at the energy of the psychic or a person and you've been watching them for a while on social media and you think, oh, I'm really drawn to them. I think it's time I got a reading from them. You just know when you're ready, and sometimes you're not ready. You're just not ready to hear things, or you don't trust yourself or whatever. So yeah, that's mainly it's a guidance. It's not giving you all the answers. It's giving you hope. It's helping your anxiety, especially this time. I have so many people, especially with businesses, that are really, really struggling at the moment and wondering if I can see them hanging in there or having to fold up or going in a different direction, or is there something that they're missing? This is the beauty of our spirit team, can quite often give us something we're missing and a direction we're like, I didn't think of that. If you use your experiences that you've learnt yourself, that helps you to then go in that direction. And I was actually just talking with someone recently about they have a lot of issues in the workplace, and it's always brought up with HR, like constantly things are happening where it's that there's other staff members that just can't get along. And it's now time that this person directs themselves into working with HR because they've experienced it. It's the same as people that have had, let's say they've had 3 or 4 marriages. They make great marriage counselors, not because they've failed, because they know the aspects of everything. They know how things work. A person who's had lots of children know how things work. So you use your life experiences to then help other people with what you've learned. And you can't just know stuff. You can't just wake up one day and know stuff. You have to go through situations, and that's what your guides will do. They'll stand back and let you go through a situation. They'll let you make a mistake. They'll let everything fall in a big hole. You think they're not supporting. You think your spirit team have let you down. They're not helping you at all. What they're doing is letting it crumble so that you get the lesson, because you're not going to get the lesson any other way than to go through it. How many times did you tell a child to do something and they didn't do it until they hurt themselves and then they got the lesson? So most of us are stubborn like that. We need to go through the lesson to get to understand. We need to go through the experience to understand the lesson. And then we're supposed to use those lessons to then help others. So yes, I'm actually working over Easter doing readings. If you feel like it's time, you've watched me for a while, you've never had one, never had a reading. I do them all via email because I'm an automatic writer and I let it all flow that way. And so I get them back within 1 to 2 days of a purchase. And yeah, I'm here and I'm available if you feel like I can help you in some way.